What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Stretch It Out podcast.
Oh, it's been so long since I've heard that music.
It has been a long time. A very long time.
Y'all thought you got rid of us, but you didn't.
Still alive. Still here.
Still not gone. Corona has not got me yet.
That's right. Man, crazy times though. Crazy times we are living in. Welcome back, everybody. My name's Nick Stretch. If you're new here, I'm here with my baby sister, Audrey.
Le Audrey. Or as the Asian grandmother would say, Audrey.
Yes.
How'd she say your name? Nicholas.
She didn't. How did she say it?
Yeah, she said like.
It was hard. It was hard to say. I could not. I had a hard time mimicking grandma on my own name because she said it like in a way that was just really hard. Like I couldn't.
Well, she couldn't do like she can't do like a one syllable name. You know, like just Nick. Like
it was almost like Nicholas.
Yeah.
Nicholas.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, like Nicholas. Like the L was like almost like a R, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how she said Alyssa's name.
Probably Arisa or something. I don't know. Alyssa's gonna have to. Alyssa, we're gonna need you to dial in and tell us how.
You sounded
like
Arisa.
Arisa. That's how she said it. Kind of like that. She was like Arisa. Yeah.
Like
it was all like the L's were like R. Yeah. Miss you, Grandma.
Yeah, Grams was the best.
She was. Man, she took such good care of us.
Oh, she spoiled us. Spoiled us rotten.
Big time. Yeah.
Like, and not in like a materialistic way. Like, she spoiled us with like keeping us clean, making sure we had good manners, you know?
Yeah, she was a little over the top with the cleanliness though, wasn't she?
No, nonstop. I remember when she was in her nursing home, she actually cleaned like her, because you know how they share a room together, like her and another, I don't want to say patient, but another person.
Mm-hmm.
And she was caught cleaning. Grandma was caught cleaning the other lady's side. That's
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
See, if you love your work, it is not work, right? If you love your work, and she's probably finding solace in her work at that point. So she's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, Audrey, what the heck have you been up to? Because we didn't even really catch up because we were going to catch up because just for all the listeners, we haven't really talked. I mean,
no,
you know,
I don't think I've talked.
Not like we usually talk, right?
Yeah. I don't think I've talked to you since the last podcast.
Well, we've talked,
but
not like that. Yeah. Not like we played the poker app and stuff, right? We played the game with Dad and Alyssa,
and it was
fun.
The same thing. You know, it always takes us about 10-15 minutes to get into Podcastland. It took the family about 20 minutes to get into the poker game.
Yeah, well, at least it only cost you guys time. I spent $10 just to
because you went all in on your first hand against me. Lost.
Yeah, so let that be a warning to you all, right? The games, right? That's how they get you. They say it's free because it is. And then they hook you. And now I've got my whole family on the game finally. And I don't want to miss out on the family time. I didn't have a choice. I had to spend real money to get fake money so that I could play poker with my family. So
that you can have quality time.
Touche Poker Face. That's the name of the app, I believe. So Touche. Just earned yourself a little spot in the podcast.
But if any of you guys do like Poker Face and the other one are still good. Poker Face is cool with people you know because you're on FaceTime with them. But if you're seeing them, if you choose to play with like random people, it shows your face. I don't like that. Like, I don't want them to see what I'm doing because
I've never attempted to play it with random people.
I did once. I was on the toilet and no, I'm kidding. I did do it and it popped up my face and I immediately covered it and left the table. I was like, oh, I didn't know it was going to force me to show my face, but yeah.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, we have talked, but we haven't talked. And we were going to talk before we got on. And then you were I stopped you and I said, we're just gonna let's be real, right? I mean, we try to be real, but now we're trying to be real.
Trying to be real.
So now that we're back in podcast land, man, it's so good to be back. What have you been up to? What's Audrey been doing? Everybody wants to know. I want to know. I really do want to know.
Audrey's been looking for a job, guys. So if you guys know of any positions,
shameless plug right there, huh? Right out of the gate. 5 minutes in, and she's already. You know what though? I appreciate that, and I can respect that.
So I mean, there's a lot of things going on. But like, yeah, been definitely focusing on trying to find a job because I do not believe I will be going back to work for the company that I worked for because obviously they took a harder hit with the coronavirus than we all hoped. So
yep, it's just not in the cards for that one. That, but
but doing that. But I can definitely tell. Like, this is just venting session now. I can definitely tell that because of that setback, like it's something that I'm extremely stressed out about. So I can see it, how it's like affecting like how I had my routine down every day. And I'm trying to get out of that funk. And it's a lot harder than,
man. Yeah. Can I tell you how good it feels to hear you say that? I know that sounds really bad.
I'm glad that it's pleasing you from my pain, Nick. No. I'm kidding.
Your pain brings me no pleasure. But the fact that you're experiencing that and sharing that with me helps me because I've been going through the exact same thing. And I'm so glad we didn't talk about this before we hit record. See, this is the kind of stuff we always talk about before we hit record.
This is
and
gold.
That's why that's why we're not doing that anymore. This is awesome because what you just said, like that's been my problem. And I mean, if we're being honest, that's why I haven't, been like super on, like trying to make the podcast happen, right? Like, hey, let's record. And it's been easy for me to push it off because I've just been like, I don't know, Podcastland to me is like a special place, right? And I almost feel like I don't want to taint it with, bringing in this negative energy and all that. So for whatever reason, I just been like kind of pushing it away. But here's the thing. No matter how I try to paint this over with pretty words, it's always going to come down to the same thing, right? And it's really, we've been in a place where we've allowed ourselves to listen to fear is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I mean, if we really break it down, right? I mean, and we've talked about this so many times, and that's what's so crazy.
We touch on this so often that I think a lot of other people think like, oh, fear doesn't play into Audrey and Nick's lives, but it does, guys. It does.
Oh, it's so bad. And Courtney was telling me that, multiple times, like, you really need to listen to the stuff that you're saying on your podcast. And, I'm like, I know, and I'm still reading, and I am still learning, I think, through all of it. But all that to say, Audrey, and I'm going to give you the floor again. I'm sorry, but I was just saying, I just feel good. If for me, it's encouraging, right, to know that you were going through that, because sometimes just knowing that somebody else is struggling, it doesn't even have to be at the same time, but just knowing that someone else has struggled with something you're struggling with, and it just makes me feel human again, I guess. And I'm like, okay with that, right? Yeah. And for me, something that small, sometimes that's all I need is that tiny little push, right? So that and then I can start to gain momentum from there. But sometimes I just need that. So all that to say, thank you. I appreciate it. And continue.
I mean, that's what it is. It's, I had the fear of, okay, I need to find a job now because, no one likes to be on unemployment. It's not the greatest thing in the world. But like just trying to find a job because like my fear is like, okay, I'm not going to find a job because now I'm scared like other companies have taken that heavy hit the same as my old company did,
Yeah.
And they're going to reduce in size. And I just have that. I have that fear. I always have a fear that I'm going to end up completely broke, no money, and living on the streets,
What's the image? Yeah. Tell us what is the image that you create? Cause I want to know how bad is it? Cause I'll share mine.
My total fear Is that what you want to know? Like,
yeah, like what's the image that your mind goes to that stresses you out? Because that's what it is, right? It's we allow fear to paint something for us, and then we're like, yeah, that's real, right? We go, yep, that's real. That's what we're doing essentially. We're looking back, we're looking at something. Fear's going, hey, look at this. If you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. And you're going, yep, that's real to me. I better run. But it's fear, right? Yeah. So what is it for you? I'll share with you mine.
What's yours?
Mine is me, my wife, and my kids underneath a bridge.
Yeah. Mine's with a shopping cart with like an old raggedy, puffy, maybe if I'm lucky, I can find a trashy Patagonia jacket underneath the bridge.
Yeah. And why? Why are we going? Like, why do we go there? Why do we take ourselves there? Like, we don't even like play out it really what's going to happen, right? Like, it's crazy.
In a way, as much as like, it's like, okay, yeah, that's my fear. And that's such an extreme picture that I'm painting. I like having that image in my head because of it. I guess it actually kind of motivates me further.
Yeah. But
there's a balance. There has to be a balance in between it.
Right. And that's getting back to why you obviously there was some imbalance because it's not, you haven't been kind of sticking with your routine. You haven't been doing the things that you know are important to you, right? The things that bring you joy and the things that make you happy and give you that mental clarity that you love. You haven't been doing those things, right? Because fear's been telling you, what's the use?
And I'll be honest, like, so, what my daily routine was always like, okay, waking up early, we would go work out, go running and, getting my workout, like my fitness routine in.
So you lived in a movie, like a cinematic film?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding. Just every time you watch movies or like television, everybody does that. And I'm always like, wow, I don't do that.
Well, I had my routine down for a good while, and then
no, I think it's awesome.
Once the whole thing is set in of like, oh, okay, no, I need to seriously start looking for other positions because I don't think I'm going to come back in my company. Then it came that this is how easily I lost my momentum was because if I didn't go on to LinkedIn when I woke up and applied for, jobs and put my application or my resume out there, right?
Right.
Like, otherwise that was going to be on my head, like heavy on my mind all day. So now I wake up and I search tons of jobs, right? And I put my resume out there. I email, there's some like applications. I do all that. So I get that done and I'm like, okay, awesome. I've done that. And that's what I did for like the majority of the morning. But now in Vegas, we're already hitting like 109 degrees. So now it's too hot for me to go outside and work out. So it's
true that.
Like I went out, me and, Maria, we went and tried running and it was already 107 and I was dying. I was sweating. I had like the longest cold shower. I'm not even lying, guys. You know how sometimes you're like, oh, I take like a lukewarm shower, a little bit on the cold side. I was in straight up cold water trying to cool my body down. I was so hot. And so it was after that I was like, okay, well, I need to focus more on finding a job and like less on working out. So then I went to the gym and I just honestly, I didn't really like being at the gym with everything that's still going on. And now at this point, I'm just making excuses, Well,
they're sounding good though. They're sounding pretty good.
I got some good excuses also.
Yeah. I mean, they sound good. Just know that.
But, it just threw me through a whole funk. So now it's like I just need to figure out my routine again. And I mean, just get out and continue to apply for positions. So like I said, anybody, if you guys need any analysts, I'm really good at operations analyst, business needs, you guys let me know.
Business analyst, whatever. Director, I think you'd be a good director.
I can direct people.
No, I've been in this kind of a weird place too. Just stressing with work,
Yeah.
Not like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but just, it's been getting to me. That's really the best way I can put it. It's been getting to me outside of my normal working hours, right? So I don't know, it's just weird. Like once I start going down that path, it's just how easy you can just keep going and going, and no one's going to stop you. I don't know. It's like I have this weird thought that like something will happen and I'll just, you have to like seriously be intentional about like yanking yourself in the other direction, like hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, it's weird. It's really hard to explain because it's not like I've been like, just walking around with my head down, but it has been tough. It's been rough. I've been,
it's like that struggle of like, I have an image in my head of like, you ever have those dreams? I have these all the time. So I don't know what they mean. If anybody knows what they mean, email us or something, DM us. But you ever have those dreams where it's like you're trying to run, but it's like,
oh my gosh,
pulling you back?
That's so funny. I just used that today. That's interesting. Yeah, I just use it as like an analogy for how I feel with work.
Yeah. Like you're trying so hard, you're working, but it's like you're not, your steps aren't fast enough.
I'm doing so much. Yeah, and enough. I can't get anything to move.
Yeah. Like
or you're trying to fight somebody and you're trying to like go to punch them like in that same dream. And in your mind, you're like, I'm going to hit them so hard in the face. And then like your hand's barely moving and they're like looking at you like, what are you doing? You're like, I don't know.
Like you're conscious of it going on too. Like in your dream, you're like, why am I moving slow?
You're like, why is this crazy? I'm trying to move my arm as fast as I can. What is going on here?
And
I can relate.
That's the analogy that I have. Like, that's the picture that I have in my head. So when you're talking about like, you need somebody to yank you out of it, it's like you're stuck in that funk and you don't know why. No clue.
Well, and here's the thing too, is it's easy for us to hide it.
Oh,
and it is, we all do it, it's easy for us to hide it. And that makes it kind of, easy for us to hide it from ourselves too. But man, I'm so glad that we're doing this today because, man, I've been struggling. It just feels good just to talk about it and get it off your chest, right?
I know. At first, honestly, I wasn't going to talk about it.
Isn't that weird?
But then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be real here. If anybody knows of anybody hiring.
Right. Yeah, you did it it was 5 minutes and 28 seconds in, I think.
Well, when you said, Audrey, what have you been up to? It's like, okay, literally all I've been doing is applying for jobs.
Right. And this is all the stuff that we usually talk about way before we press the record button. So this is good. See, this is the real, like I said, the real.
This is the raw.
Yeah. So, but no, I think it's cool. And I think it was awesome that you had an old friend reach out to you and mention, just kind of share some kind words. Cause I'll be honest that when you sent that to me, I was like, man, that I don't know. Is it Brandon?
Yes. His name is Brandon Tierney. I hope I said that correctly. If not, then I'm saying it wrong my entire life, Brandon. I'm sorry.
Brandon's one of our listeners. Thank you so much for listening, Brandy. But more importantly, seriously, you sending that, or when I got it today anyways, the timing was perfect because I was at that time. I'm just being real here. I'm just being honest, like thinking of, should I just text Audrey and tell her, hey, let's record tomorrow? Because I've just got so much on my mind. I have such little mind share, as I like to put it. Like my bandwidth is thin. And that was me listening to Fear. And what's really cool about the message that Brandon sent, and again, when we talk about kindness being a superpower, Brandon, when you sent that, it showed up at the exact time that Fear had showed up for me. And I don't know that I would have won that battle so easily had you not sent that. So really appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, man, just really appreciate the kind words. I don't know you, but you have, just being kind. You've really impacted somebody's life, mine in particular. And I mean that. Thank you sincerely. So
I know he left off at the what was the name of that episode? Grim. It was the Disneyland one we talked about with Michael Myers.
Grim Grinning Ghost, I think, is maybe the one.
So we know for sure he left off at that one because he said he thought that one was hilarious because he knew Michael. He knew Mike.
Oh, that's so cool.
We all went to school and everything together.
I wonder if he's ever going to hear that Because he might hear it and go, that's not how it happened. It went a little more like this. You know what I mean? He might have some details that we don't recall.
It would be cool to see what like his perspective was for all of it, because like I said, you had your perspective, I had mine, and you know, that would be freaking awesome though.
Who knows? Who knows?
To get him on. But I do want to say sorry though to Brandon, because I'm looking back. He sent this message, guys. He sent this message via Facebook Messenger, and I'm so bad. I've said this multiple times, guys. I'm really bad with Facebook. And the only reason why I re-downloaded Facebook Messenger was because Zegan, our nephew, likes to send messages and stickers and like fun little things all the time.
Oh, it's so cool.
So Zegan called me out the other week when we went to Dad's, and he told me like, where's your messenger? You know? So I was like, fine, I'll download it again. So when I downloaded it, I got all these messages, and I was very just lazy at checking all of them. Cause I'm like, who's writing me on Facebook? Like, you know, I think because I don't use Facebook, it's very one-minded. Because I don't use Facebook, I assume that nobody wants to talk to me via Facebook. Does that make sense, right?
And you're wrong. Yeah. And you're wrong.
Yeah, I know. So I'm sorry. But I'm looking at it right now. He sent this message on May 25th. And it took me that long to respond to him. So I'm sorry, Brandon. But now he knows Instagram is where it's at.
But think about what I said about the timing, though. It was meant to happen, I think, the way that it did, because I needed that. You know, I needed it today at the exact time that you sent it to me. So
it gave me some motivation, and it inspired me to receive that message, because I mean, I'm still hyped off of the fact that somebody in Ireland is listening to us.
Somebody.
Who's the secret Irish person? Along with the UK, and there were some other countries, but Ireland was the first one you said. I was like, what? That's so neat.
Yeah.
But just to know that, like, I hadn't spoken to Brandon since probably maybe 7th or 8th grade. And for him to come through like that and just say like, hey, you know, he's like, I love podcasts, and I came across you and your brothers. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, so there are other people who are listening to our podcast. It just kind of gave me like, it relit the flame, you know?
Yeah. It reminds you why you're doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To connect and hopefully help other people in some way.
It helped me to like have some accountability for like, hey, this is what we started. Like, we need to continue to do this. Because it's not about, because at this point, it's not about you and me. Like in the beginning it was, because we're like, hey, cool, let's do a podcast, whatever. But now it's, you know, we actually have listeners and people who actually care to listen about what we say, whether it's something, just a funny episode about Disneyland of us getting kicked out, or if maybe there is something that a lot of people are struggling with a certain topic or a certain thing that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't know, but it's, you know, we need to keep doing it because we enjoy it and we love it. And that's the truth. And that's why Courtney's been telling me, you got to do it, right? Because she knows how much it means to me, why it's important to me to, you know, just spend some time with my baby sis chatting about life and perspective and whatnot.
And we got to give a shout out to all the fathers, because we did miss Father's Day. Happy Father's Day,
good
Nick.
job. Yeah, shout out to all the dads for Happy Father's Day. And yeah, that was a cool weekend for me, for sure.
What did you do for Father's Day? Were you on vacation?
I think I was, yeah.
I think you were out, yeah. Because that's why we didn't record that week, yeah.
Yeah, I was. And it was awesome, too. So just a great time with the kids. We had such a great time. And Courtney, I think she scheduled a fun activity for us when we were out on vacation, where we went horseback riding.
Oh, how was it? I saw some videos.
Yeah, it was awesome. But if you've never been horseback riding, like myself and my kids, it's some scary stuff. Yeah. Like,
I'm terrified of horses. I rode a horse one time, and
it was sketch. Yeah, like super sketchy because, and the whole, I was actually cool like the whole way, like leading up to it. Like even when we parked the car and I saw the horses, I was like, oh, cool. Like the horses were kind of off in a distance, right? So I'm like, okay, I've seen horses before. Like, yeah, I'm gonna ride one of those things, no big deal. And then you got to sign like this, all these waivers and stuff. And they're like, do you want to wear a helmet? And I'm like, what the heck do I need a helmet for?
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, long story short, when we get out there, and we're standing next to the horses, that for me, that's when like fear showed up in a big way. And I immediately I found myself like kind of getting, it was messing up my perspective immediately. Like I was having a negative view on things and I was just trying to keep it to myself, but Courtney knows I wear it on my face. And so she knew, she's like, oh, he's pissed. He's not liking this. And there were two really tall horses and the rest of the horses were still kind of big. And then there was like one little one named Ziggy, I think was his name. And Noah got to ride Ziggy.
I was going to say,
yeah, I was eyeballing Ziggy, like, get over here, come stand by me, come make it look like you want me on you. But obviously, so Noah got him, which I was like, that's cool. And there's another one named Thor and he was like super big. And this other dude got to ride on him, which I was thankful for. And then I got to ride on the other horse that was not as big as Thor, and his name was Stetson. And it was it was quite an adventure.
Did anybody's horse take off?
No one's horse took off. My horse, no one told me, and it's crazy because it's like volunteers that work at this ranch or whatever, so they're just kind of winging it. It's not like they're like, there's like a 21-point checklist that they're running through. And so they're like, and they're like, okay, so you're riding Stetson. Okay, well, he likes to stop sometimes and eat and you got to kind of yank up on him, don't let him do that or whatever. Right. I'm like, okay, cool. I can handle that. No big deal.
You like to eat? I like to eat.
Didn't realize you had to yank as hard as you had to yank, but I learned that quick. But they didn't tell me until after the ride was that he likes, or he doesn't like mud. He's the only horse that doesn't like to step in mud. And if you've never been horseback riding before, when you're sitting down on a horse, especially as a man, you're really trusting that horse because that horse can send you into a world of pain in a split second. And when the horses return back from the ride, when they're coming back to the ranch, they get more excited, I guess, because they know they're going home, So they didn't mention that either. And my horse, because he didn't like mud, when we were going to cross the little creek, so like the horse you come down one side and then up the other, right? And I knew that when you're going down, you have to lean backwards, and when you're going up, you have to lean forward. And so I was kind of prepping for my leaning, and what I should have been doing was standing up as high as I could, because Stetson got a little excited and he didn't cross the creek like every other horse. He galloped down and jumped and then galloped up the other side. And I was sitting down the entire time. So, I think my voice jumped to like 5 octaves higher than what I normally sound. If you've never heard broken melody. So times that high pitch by 5. And I was like that much higher. And I was in real serious pain, like where like I think tears were coming out of my eyes, and I was just hoping and praying that Courtney, because she was in front of me, wouldn't turn around and see it. But minus that and my fear initially, right? Because I could see the fear on my kids' faces too, so I had to hide mine, right? Minus all that was probably the part of the vacation that I think the kids had the most, or I don't know if they had the most fun there, because they had a lot of fun the whole time, but that's probably going to be the most memorable. I can tell you it's going to be pretty memorable for me. So it was a great vacation.
Did they recommend, because obviously, because you're a guy, did they recommend that like men wear cups? Because I feel like they
should have, yeah. But I don't know that would have helped me, because the way you're sitting on the horse, you can't sit on the horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what I should have done is just stood up. I should have just been like, oh, my horse doesn't like mud, right? He's going to jump this creek and I'm going to stand up. But I didn't know that until after. Yeah. And I thought that was funny when they told me after. What movie was it? Was it The Wedding Singer, where Adam Sandler was like, once again, information that would have been useful to me yesterday, or something like that. And that's what I was thinking when they're like, oh yeah, we forgot to tell you Stetson doesn't like mud. He's the only horse that doesn't like mud. So that's why he galloped like that on you. And I'm like, okay.
When he's sending you back to being 8 years old.
Yeah. I'm like, can I use your potty now? Because that's what I felt like. Seriously, I was hurting. And when we got off the horse, because it was like an hour and 40 minutes or something that we were on these horses. And so I was already sore. You know what I mean? Like when we were riding back, like I didn't realize you had like little spots on your butt cheeks that like on your butt that like actually gets like really, really sore. You're like, wow, like my butt is really sore. Yeah. And when you get off the horse, you really do kind of walk like a cowboy. It was really.
I remember because cool. We went horseback riding, and it was over by was it Spring Valley Lake? Is that what the lake is?
Yeah.
Okay. I was getting confused. So it was over there, and it was actually with a really good friend. It was Jessica Johnson, and her mom and her family. They took us out there, and I had never been horseback riding, but I was like,
yeah. How old were you?
God, I think I was like 16.
Wow. Okay. So you were old enough. Yeah. You were old enough to meet that same fear I just explained. Yeah. So continue.
And you remember Kimmy and Melissa that lived down the street with Sally?
Of course.
Right. And they had horses, and it's like, I remember I used to pick up the horses' poo and stuff like that, but always looking at the horses, I was always like, oh man, they're really cool animals. But until I actually sat on one and I'm not scared of heights, but I was like, this is a pretty big, like if I were to fall, this is a pretty big fall to the ground.
Yeah, it's sketchy. It's sketchy.
And at Disneyland on the merry-go-round, they strap you in. I was like expecting them to do that to me, and they didn't. And
you're like, so is this animatronics? Is that what this is? Because you're not strapping me in. So you're telling me you assume this is nothing is bad, nothing can happen. I'm good, like I'm perfectly safe.
Yeah. What happens if I slide off the side? And you could tell the lady that was there, like the trainer who was there, I think maybe she was just having a rough day. Like she just did not want to be there. I'm over there.
Could you imagine though, doing that for a living, dealing with everybody else's fear every time they get on a horse? That's what you do?
Yeah. They're professionals at it, and they know how to handle this beast,
Yeah. Huge.
And here I am like, I'm just going to pay my $40 and try it out. Well, we went, and I wasn't in like the very back, but I was like the second or third to the last person. And I was like talking to my horse the whole time, right? So I'm like, okay, so we're going to get along. Okay, we're going to be cool. I was like, I'm a pretty cool person. I'm pretty chill, like talking to my horse. And I believe it was Jessica's mom who was behind me. And she's like laughing at me the whole time because she's like, why are you keep talking to the horse? And I'm like, I just want to make sure that me and the horse are on the same page. And this thing was like a black stallion. It was such a beautiful animal, pure black. And it just took off. It started running. I wasn't even holding the reins. I was holding the whole neck of the horse.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's scary.
I was screaming the entire time. I was just screaming, and I was like, someone help. Like
that'll make the horse stop, right? Screaming in its ear.
Yeah. So then I remember because I was passing everybody else up on the trail. And the reason why I ducked down and grabbed the neck of the horse, like the mane, was because we were like in a trail with like trees and stuff. And I was like, I don't want it to run and then knock me off. Like you see in like the funny movies where they're riding and they hit the branch and they fall off. So that's why I went down and was like holding on to like the mane and the neck. And I remember just passing by the trail leader, and I made eye contact with her. In her eyes, you could tell she's just like,
OMG. Yeah.
And I'm like screaming. And so she finally catches up, and my horse just totally stops on its own and then just starts eating. Just like hangs out. Just stop moving. Oh my
gosh.
And it was at that point that I was like, I'm done. Just get me off the horse. The horse does not want me on him.
Yeah, they're like, well, maybe we shouldn't have put you on lightning between over there.
I got off the horse. She walked the horse back, and I remember the one thing I remember from Kimmy and Melissa and Sally was like, you never stand behind a horse because they'll buck at you.
Oh yeah. And you're dead.
Yeah. So I was just like, I'm not even gonna. I was like, you guys walk ahead. Like you guys are faster than me. Oh, that was like a scary experience. And I think they were all laughing at me. They were like, yeah, we heard you screaming. And I was like, that was terrifying.
Have you gotten back on? So are you going to get back on a horse, I should say?
Probably not. Not interested.
Just all right. Well, I think that's what we're going to have to do.
It's just, you know, I respect them. Before, I think I just didn't respect them. And now I do. I understand like the muscle that those things have. So.
Oh, it's intense, isn't it? Gosh.
You guys never been on a horse. Those things are, and your legs, like, you know, I got short legs, so I felt like I was doing the splits the whole time on this animal, just trying to get my legs over its back.
Oh yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
It hurt me, so that's why I was like, did they tell you guys to wear any kind of protective gear?
Just the helmet. Just the helmet, which I didn't take them up on that offer because I didn't want to wear a helmet. Because then it would make it too real for me. So I was like, I don't need a helmet.
Well, and also you probably didn't want to be like the one guy on the trail. Did anybody else wear a helmet?
Yeah. My kids and Courtney. No, it was only me and one other dude. The rest was all like my family. And then like a couple of like, they were all females. I don't know how old everybody was, but it was just me and that one other guy. So. But it was good. It was good times. So.
Well, there you guys go. Horseback riding 101.
That's right. It's what we do here for everybody. We like to provide you guys a wide array of information and things that are useful and mostly things that aren't. So thanks for joining us again. Yes. Appreciate it.
Once again, shout out to Brandon. Brandon said he might just send us an intro.
Oh, really?
So we'll see. I'm waiting on it, Brandon. I'm calling you out.
Or Brandon, she probably just hasn't gotten to the message yet, so he's probably already sent it. So
no, he's like, no, I sent it right after we spoke. Oh, my bad.
No, but seriously, anything else, Audrey, you want to mention? I had a really good chat. I thought that was awesome.
No, I just wanted to give Brandon his shout out for motivating us, holding us accountable. 2, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And even if you don't have your fathers, you know, they're still with you, memory and heart, right?
That's right.
And 3, also, happy 4th of July, everybody. I hope everybody was safe. They had a great time because our fireworks were going off like no other. And it was probably one of the best 4th of Julys I've ever seen a city have here in Vegas. So
that's huge. I'm glad you brought that up because we had the best one we've ever had here. The neighbors, everyone really kind of outdid themselves this year. So shout out to all my neighbors, my MFB crew. I love you guys. And
happy birthday to Noah.
And happy birthday to Noah. He turned 11 on the 2nd. So happy birthday to my main man.
He's so
all right. I think this is where I bring the music in and
sorry guys, we're a little rusty.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm like, what does this button do? I don't even know what this button does, but but anyways. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. We love you.
Love y'all. Take care. We'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.